Hey everyone, welcome back to the YouTube channel God Will Do It For You. My name is Steven and I hope everyone's having a great day so far. And what we're going to be talking about today is maintaining focus and working towards your goals. The reason this particular topic is resonating with me because I have several different goals in line and working towards all of them concurrently. And in order to be effective, it requires very strategic planning, intense focus, intense commitment, procrastination avoidance, and many other things that I think sometimes we overlook the importance of. And we just need to make sure that we have that roadmap so that way we at least have a strategy on how we want to go about things. Now, of course, life will sometimes cause delays or whatever the case may be, but at least if we have that roadmap, we can work towards the goal. At that point, we won't look at delays or inconveniences as, hey, this is over. No, we'll just look at it as this is the process that it takes to get towards whatever goal that you may have. For instance, let's say your goal is to climb the corporate ladder. Hey, I want to be a supervisor in 2 years. Let's say your goal is I want to be a wife or a husband. Let's say your goal is I want to have a house. Let's say your goal is I want to accomplish my dream and make it a reality. You know, whatever the case may be, whatever it may be, is going to require strategic planning in order to accomplish it. Now, for instance, I'm going to be transparent about everything that's kind of going on my plate. So I have this page. So the plan with this page is for it to monetize so that way it could be a blessing for the community. I work this page Monday through Friday. I strategically do the videos at 12 p.m. so that way they can be posted in between 12 and 1 p.m. All right. I have my music. I've been mulling over my schedule. I'm like, okay, I work from 7:30 until 12, and then I can start back up around in between 2:30 and 3, and then I go until 5:30. At that point, I pick up my son. So I'm like, all right. I'm looking at the time that I have in between that 12 and 2:30, maybe 2 hours. On Mondays, I grocery shop. So Monday's out the question. Then I also go to the gym every other day. I usually spend about 45 minutes to an hour at the gym. And I go every other day. And so my strategic plan to make sure that I'm able to get everything done and also accomplish these goals, I must have a strict schedule. Like the schedule, you can't really veer off on it. You don't really have much wiggle room to procrastinate, because if you do, things can get behind. And this is what it takes. I don't care what anybody says. This is what it takes. You have to have a strategic schedule. You have to make sure that you tune out all distractions. You have to make sure that you stick to the plan so that way you can steadily make progress. Because me making these videos, sticking to the new schedule with the videos, things like that, the subscriber account is growing, which is great. I love that people find what I'm saying on this platform to be useful. This is all just knowledge and wisdom and insight coming from God, so He gets all the glory for all of these videos, all the information, even the wisdom and knowledge that I'm giving you for this particular video. Everything goes to God. I really appreciate Him. But this is what it takes. I'm like, okay, on days that I have to cook dinner, I need to make sure that it's enough for 2 days, so that way it alleviates 1 day of priority. And I usually try to do the gym on the day that I don't have to cook. So today I don't have to cook. Later today, this evening, I'll be going to the gym. If I didn't have to grocery shop today, I'll be doing the gym right now. Right after this video, I'll be going to the gym, knock it out, come back, try to get a little bit of work on the computer, heat my food up, take it with me, get back to make the money. Once my son gets home, we usually do reading, practice reading, or practice just teaching them how to handle money, things like that. I usually last 20 minutes, 25 minutes. At that point, the evening is free. So if I have to cook, that's usually when I cook. If I don't have to cook, now I have free time. Well, I desire to be a husband as well. So I am getting to know somebody. So at that point, thankfully, I am self-employed, so I can talk if they are available throughout the day while I'm working. And then in the evening time, I have the allotted time as well once I have my son taken care of. My son likes his me time as well. He doesn't get much of it from the time that he is done studying. He likes to spend his time doing whatever he pleases, and he usually gets 45 minutes. That's it. At that point, he has to take a shower, eat dinner, and start getting ready for bed. He's in bed by 8:30. So this is what I mean by a structured schedule, because this is Monday through Friday. Soon he's going to be starting practice back up. So then I'll have to say, all right, let's change it up again. But it's okay, because these these changes and your ability to adapt is what's going to help you to make steadily progress towards your goal. Because that's the main thing, is don't set unrealistic expectations for yourself, because that's what will decrease motivation towards your goal and could slow progress down. You have to set realistic expectations. Say, hey, you know what? My goal for me is that I want to make sure I have 3 beats made Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and if possible, Saturday, Sunday. That's the goal. The thing about producing music is it takes some time if you're creating something that's actually, it stands out and things like that. So now I'm just trying to find the wiggle room on the weekdays in order to accomplish that with the time that I have. And then also on the weekends, how I can be intentional with that time, because on the weekends I usually work from 8 to 12. So 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Then at that point, on Saturdays, every other Saturday, I cut my son's hair, and then I get him some me time, so he either goes to the park or does some fun activity. At that point, he's usually wore out for that, and he just wants to sit down and enjoy his weekend. Rightfully so. At that point, I get me some me time, which would be time that I can utilize to bond with a lady, and then also work towards my goals. The food business as well is in place. So the good thing about the food business is, if there are orders that need to be taken care of, I just subtract the time from working and then replace that with cooking. And I know you're like, man, he's doing a lot. Hey, I have no problem working hard to accomplish my goals. I desire to be a husband. I desire to be a business owner. I desire my music producing to be able to monetize and bring in some value as well. I desire to show my son that just because I have you doesn't mean I have to throw away my goals. I just have to make sure that I'm very intentional, strategic, responsible, reduce procrastination, reduce distractions in order to achieve them. And at that point, when you put in this necessary work, you create an emotional bond towards your goals. And I don't care what anybody says, anything that you're emotionally invested in, you're more likely to take it more serious. You're more likely to take it more serious. Let's say, for instance, a relationship. You invested time, money, you confided in them. You're invested now, so you're wanting a positive outcome. It's the same thing with our goals. We have to make sure that we are so intentional, so emotionally invested that, hey, you know what? When demotivation comes, because it will, just naturally it comes, or when you're like, I don't know if this is going to be possible anymore, you have to always remember the end result that you're trying to achieve to increase that motivation to get back. Or you're like, you know what, man, I don't know, the schedule's getting so tight that I don't have enough time. Is this even possible? Things of that nature. And then you have to sit down, write it out. Write out what time you do have. Write out, hey, you know what? If I decrease my expectation of the progress that I'm trying to make, and I just map out what I am able to do, then that steadily increases the motivation to get back to it, because some progress is better than no progress. Better late than never. I would rather not quit and it happen in a couple of years than to just it not happen at all. If you quit, you're guaranteeing that it won't work. If you give up, the one thing that you can guarantee is that it will not happen. Your goal will not be accomplished, whatever the case may be. Same thing for a relationship. If you're desiring to be a husband or a wife, in your leisure time, you need to be asking yourself, what can I improve? And you have to be really honest, brutally honest with yourself. Do I communicate the best? Do I sometimes get upset and lash out? Do I have toxic traits? Do I have enough time? Am I financially in a place to where I'm able to take a partner out? I've learned that people make time for whatever they want to make time for. So, if somebody's like, well, I got to work all the time, then you're not ready to be pursuing a relationship. Because I make time. Even with my schedule the way it is, I make time. Again, people that are intentional about what they want and they desire and that goal they're trying to achieve, they make time for what they want to make time for. Do not accept an excuse. Again, too, the great thing about a goal is having an accountable buddy or expose what your goal is. So let's say, for instance, on this platform, you all know my goals. And so what this does is it sets the expectation for me to be like, you know what? I want to show them that I am working towards this goals because now it's publicly known. You all know my goals. You all know the path I'm trying to go. And I'm being vulnerable so that way, sometimes we have to be vulnerable with ourselves or to confide into whoever you decide to, a friend or whatever, so that way you can have that accountable buddy that's like, hey, you're constantly feeding them progress. And that way, if they don't hear that, they'll be able to say, hey, are you still working towards that? This is a long path and a long process to get to some of these goals. The road to success is never just straight. It zigzags and it goes this way and that way and this way and that way. If you look at people that have to score a touchdown in football, they start at 0. Sometimes they have to run. Sometimes they get stopped. Sometimes the ball comes back. They have to kick it back. Sometimes it comes back to them. But eventually they get to that end zone and they score a point. It's a constant back and forth before they're able to actually win and succeed in victory. And sometimes that's what life does to you. Sometimes you have to go forward. Sometimes you have to backpedal. Sometimes you're able to jump up ahead drastically. Sometimes you're at a stall or a standstill. The main thing is that you make sure you reduce procrastination. You make sure that schedule is set. Make sure that you have strategies to combat demotivation, and also strategies to keep yourself motivated. Make sure that you're very intentional in all that you do. Make sure that you're constantly trying to improve, but also keep your expectations realistic. Do these things, and at that point, God will assist you the rest of the way. Anything that he sees, oh, he might need some help with this, that's when God comes in. When God sees us putting in the work and having the faith that he is with us, he will supplement exactly what you cannot do. He will. And you're like, oh, I need help with this. Trust me, all of a sudden this person comes that has the wisdom and knowledge. Or you're a single parent and you desire, you're like, you know what, it would be nice to have some help. Then all of a sudden this really nice young lady or nice young man or whoever comes into your life, and it's not an instant help, but it's like, hey, I'm giving you somebody good. Don't undermine the value of that person and work towards it, and in the future you could have help that you won't have to ask for. The right person will want to help you. They'll see all that you have to do and they'll be like, you know what, how can I be an addition to your life? They'll naturally want to help you. That's how you know that they're sent from God. You won't have to ask nothing. You don't have to ask nothing. Anybody that loves and cares about you would naturally want to make sure that they do the best that they can for you, because you'll reciprocate the same thing. That's just how it goes. So my aim for this video is to make sure that we are all working towards our goals, no matter what it is. We are not wasting our time. In between all these times that I've explained in my schedule, you have to find that leisure time, that me time, that you can sit down and decompress from the hustle and bustle, and so that way you can recuperate mentally. But don't just be sitting there watching TV for 6, 7, 8 hours, all this mess. It's just, if you're on vacation or whatever, if that's just your thing, then so be it. But for the things that I'm trying to accomplish, that's not possible anymore. I have no video games. You know, heck, even if you have to have app blockers on your phone and set it for a time frame, because they do have that stuff, app blockers to block you from looking at social media and from procrastinating, then so be it. You have to make sure that you show God and yourself how serious you are and how intentful you are and how hopeful you are to accomplish your goals. Because once you do that, you don't know how it's going to be if you succeed in it. The only way you're going to find out though is if you're working towards it. So I hope this video has been a blessing to you. You know, if you feel led to like, share, subscribe, definitely do so. Like I said, the channel's starting to grow. I love it. You know, like I said, I just hope that God gets all the glory with all of this, because everything that I do it for God and my son. And that's it. God and my son. And this is, I'm just basically just sharing my life with you all, so that way y'all understand that there's a process to this thing, because I truly believe that God has something special for me, but he also has something special for you. You just have to believe it and keep working together to get to it. So I hope this has been a blessing, and until next time.